Elevated Grapes Podcast.
Elevated Grapes Podcast.
With your host, Sethee.
Your host, Sethee.
And stylist, Rashi Bindra.
It's time to get started.
Let's talk fashion, shall we?
Welcome to Elevated Grapes. I am your host, Sethee, and this is Rashi babbling on when she said that we're going to start, but she kept on with another story. So here's usually what happens. Rashi, you ready to record? I'm ready to record. Okay, good. Let's go. I'm recording. Oh, but wait, I have to tell you a story. But listen, we're already recording. You guys don't usually hear that part because I do my best to cut it out. But this time I'm going to leave it in, just so you know what goes on.
Why?
Also, I'm your host, Sethee. Welcome to Elevated Grapes.
And I'm stylist Rashi Bindra, and I do not babble. I have very interesting stories that actually my co-host, friend, business partner, who you guys know as your host Sethee, really enjoys because that is his entertainment.
It's so entertaining. I mean, it's great for me. I try to hide it from the world, but I mean, you know what? At this stage, I need everybody to know what actually goes on. Like, my whole point is, listen, tell your stories, but when we say we're starting, stop the stories and continue them afterwards. let's get to the point. But it also is cause for entertainment on our show. So this is what you get. The real us.
The real us. We are raw like a carrot or celery, whatever the vegetable was when we first started our podcast.
Unpeeled.
Unpeeled, raw.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Straight out of the dirt.
There you go. Oh my God. So if any of you have not listened to our first podcast, and I'm talking our first episode ever, I remember like not you, but like I was so nervous, and we start recording, and I think at that time we were going live on our Instagram account.
Yeah.
We go live, and all you hear me saying is, we are raw, we're unpeeled, here we are, and I somehow went from carrots, even though our show is called Elevated Grapes. So it was very interesting.
Please, do whatever you want to do. Don't listen to that first one, because I think both of us were just all over the map. There was a whole bunch of like mismatched conversations and weird breaks, and it was not a good episode. But we leave it there because we're apparently raw and unpeeled like a carrot. So we'll leave it there.
Yeah, and we're straight from the ground.
And we're straight from the ground.
Grounded. We're straight from the ground.
But we've come a long way since then.
Yes, we have. We absolutely have.
So today we're going to have a discussion around the other side of health, being the physical health. We had a conversation last week about mental health, as it's a very important topic, and we will touch on that topic every so often in our show. It's very close to home for both of us, and it's also a relevant topic all the time, as you know, many people around us in general and just in communities around us are facing the mental health challenge, and it's important to address it so that, you know, the topic is always discussed, it's always at the forefront, and whoever is facing any challenges, or if you know anybody facing any challenges, you know it's something that can be easily discussed and not sort of something to be left in the dark. But with that, and an equally important topic is our physical health. And so we thought we'd take some time on the lifestyle part of our conversations to focus a little bit on the physical health side. And physical health, you know, being everything from nutritional to gut to, you know, your workout routines, whatever they look like, but just taking care of your body so that your mind can be in sync too.
That is so important. Actually, that is something I was actually talking to you about before we started record.
Absolutely.
On something I am working on that does have the physical aspect of it and the nutrition aspect, and it just kind of hit me now, to be very honest with you. I know we said what we're going to chat about today, but it did not hit me until now that, you know, what I'm working on is also this.
It is, and everything's connected. Like, the physical health is so connected with everything, right? Like, I mean, you can definitely work on independently the physical health. You can definitely work independently on the mental health. But if they're not in sync, then the challenges you're facing are still going to lie there, right? Because you're not going to feel good. You're going to, even if you are mentally aware and you're on point, but you're physically not feeling up to par and being that person, it's going to drag you down. Just like on the flip side, if you're physically up to par and your physical activity's on point and your nutrition's on point, but mentally you're in a bad place, you're not going to feel up to par and your physical health will suffer. So they're so intertwined.
You know, and it's really interesting that you point that out, because I think what I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. One of the things a lot of people don't realize is we have this notion in our minds that if I'm working out and I'm eating super clean and I'm getting my 8 hours or 9 hours of sleep, whatever, like I'm perfectly fine. I am super healthy. I have no issues. That's actually that is really incorrect because yes, your physical body, is in shape, and yes, you look good on the outside, and yes, you're eating healthy. But then I do ask this question: if you're emotionally not in sync with your mind and body, even what you're eating, you're not really like your body doesn't absorb it the way it should. Because believe it or not, our body, as much as it's made up of cells and the blood vessels and all those cool things, I used to know this I used to know this by heart when I was in grade 9.
Rashi's apparently a doctor now. She's a biology major. Let's
No,
listen
what?
to the lessons by Professor Rashi Bindra.
No, I'm just saying, like I used to love it when I was a lot younger. I just never went from sciences, and I got like distracted. But that's a whole different conversation.
Continue, Professor.
So as much as all of these things are, and that's how our body functions, but your body also deals with your emotions, right? It's like we've spoken in our past podcast, our energies, our feelings, what we used to feel is something that your body does also react to. So if you're going to work out and sleep and not take care of your mental health as well, guess what? You're kind of screwing your body internally. Like certain things will like pop up in your body.
Yes, but I think the point that we want to make here is that in order to be mentally at a comfortable place, or to to have the aspect of whatever training you're doing on the to help your mental health work for you, the physical health is equally as important. Because if you're not physical health, I'm a big proponent to this, and I'll probably end up babbling a lot in this conversation just because I'm so adamant about proper physical activity and eating right and that sort of thing, that it plays a huge part in having sanity both on the mental side. We're all so busy on so many different levels, whether for you and I, like, I can speak to myself. I have a corporate job, I have my weekend gigs, I have my hosting gigs, I have family responsibilities, I have our show that we work on, the events and the things that we do for Elevated Grapes. Like, I mean, there's so many different things that I have to that are pulling me in different directions, that if I don't take that break for myself and spend that hour and a half to get my workout in whatever format it is, where I'm cutting off from everything and I'm paying attention to my body and letting my body release out and get that activity out to get itself in shape so I can do all these different things mentally, I'd be a wreck, right? So it's very important from my perspective to have that physical activity so that your body can keep up, because there's an endurance involved mentally that your body's a part of. Like, if you're for you to manage all these things and have the capacity to take on the different responsibilities, and like, I'm not saying this to say that I have more responsibilities than other people. Like, everybody's responsibilities are in different forms. I'm just sharing mine. For other people, it's
what he's saying is that he is running for president. So
no,
Trump,
what I'm
over.
saying to you, what I'm saying
he's
to
running
you,
for president.
What I'm saying to you is that everybody has various responsibilities, and their time and their energies are required. But in order to be able to put your energy into something and be fair and just to it, you have to put some energy into yourself so you can actually manage and do it. Is the point I'm trying to make, Rashi? Thank you for interrupting with a useless joke. I'm the joker here.
It wasn't a joke. I'm just saying the way you made it sound. It's like, move over. President Sethee is like on his way. I think I once like nicknamed you that.
Clearly it didn't stick for a reason.
Yeah, then I went back to like Mr. Sethee when you did your rebranding to be.
And also FYI, in case you're wondering why I'm dressed in a sleeveless tank top, it's because I knew we were going to talk about fitness, so I'm like, I'm going to dress for fitness.
Nobody asked that question. Thank you
I
for
did because,
volunteering.
well, in case you're wondering, watching, why is this guy sitting in a tank top randomly? like, why is he not dressed for a podcast? It's because I'm dressed for a fitness podcast because we're going to be talking about fitness
Oh my
and
god.
activity. So the
Oh
tank
my
top is
god.
on, and it says beast because
Oh my god.
I like to be in beast mode when I'm working out.
And I like to be in badass everything mode when I'm working out, which is at the
Exactly.
back of my t-shirt.
Exactly. So that's my point. My point is that it's very important in order to manage the mental capacity, because the mental capacity is you can focus on that and make that a priority and work on that. But if you're physically not able to manage the mental capacity, then you're going to also be in trouble. So I think it's very, very important. And it doesn't, like, we're talking about, like, this part of the conversation, we're talking about the physical activity, the workouts, and whatever form that takes. So it doesn't stop there. Like, we're going to go into the nutritional side because that's equally as important in terms of the physical side of your health and capacity.
So then let me ask you this one question. I mean, we know.
Are you hosting right now? Are you moderating and facilitating?
Shush. Let me speak. I sometimes wonder
the
how
role of your
host.
The role of your host Sethee will now be played by stylist Rashi Bindra.
So yes, let me ask you this question.
It's not how I talk. Firstly, listen. You should practice your impressions before you use them live on camera.
I'm not good at them. Okay, I just think
Clearly.
that you as this deep. Well, this deep voice comes out, so it's positive. I'm thinking you as manly. I'm thinking of you as a man. That's positive.
You make me sound like a smoker. That's been changed for 35 years. I don't sound like that.
Oh my god. Anyway, so back to my point.
Yes, go ahead with your question.
Okay, so the question that I have for you is, from all of us who know you, and even the listeners who have gotten to know your personality over the year and a half, you've posted your like workout stuff at times on your stories, things like that. So we know that you're a big advocate for it. Now, how do we, like, what are your tips and tricks to get the person off their couch to start with even 10 minutes of working out, especially now during COVID when gyms are closed? It's we don't necessarily maybe want to leave our house, or we get very comfortable in our PJs, right? So what is that 10-minute trick or tip to get the person moving even for 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm. It really, so let me take a step back before I answer that question directly. When as COVID hit and I started to work from home, the idea of working out became a challenge because I used to work out at home a lot. And then I felt like I had hit some sort of peak where it wasn't productive for me anymore. So then I went and found a gym. I'm a big proponent of using classes and using instructors and that sort of thing, because I don't pretend to know what I'm doing in the gym, because I don't. If you put me in a weight room, I mean, now I have a small idea because I've been around it a lot. But at the onset when I first started, I did it for a year and a half, and I wasn't getting any results, and I didn't know, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a set routine. I didn't know how to set the routine. I talked to friends, I read up on some stuff, but it just wasn't working for me. So then I found a couple of high intensity training workouts, some very popular ones that most people know. We're not going to name drop here, but I started to use those, and I went through those programs, the 60 days, the 90 days, etc. And I found amazing results, but what I will say to you is it was the consistency, and it was the nutritional combination of eating healthy while I was doing it. The motivation for me was that I wanted to make it a lifestyle. I didn't want it to be, okay, I want results in 60 days and then I'm going to go back to, my old lifestyle. I wanted to change the lifestyle because as I was getting older, it was very important for me to take care of my body. And, we talked about the skincare routine. That came a little bit later than it probably should have, but it's all in the same way. Like, I want to take care of my body because I would like to be able to be healthy and active for as long as I possibly can. So for my motivation, it wasn't, I look deeper than I want the six pack, or I want, the chiseled, like, look. I mean, anybody, if you really put your heart to it, can really get that. It's not that you can't. Anybody can really get it. For some people, it's different types of work, but it's understanding your body to see what gets you there, but you can have it. But that wasn't the goal for me. For me, it was, okay, I want a lifestyle as I get older so that I can maintain a level of activity, and I don't have to feel, I don't want the age to creep up on me where all of a sudden it's like, I can't do certain things in a certain way because I'm not physically able to, and I don't have the endurance or the mental capacity to do it. So for me, it was a combination of having the mental and physical capacity. So because my responsibilities, as I mentioned, were quite heavy. I'm just a busybody, and they always have been. So I was like, I need something that's going to be able to give me that break, both in my day and help me to maintain the physical activity in my lifestyle. So coming back to the question in terms of when gyms closed down and I had to work out from home, for me it was quite an easy transition to go back to my old ways of working out. It's not the ideal for me, but I was able to. And then eventually I sourced some equipment that I was able to bring to my house to add to the workouts, so which worked for me. But really, it's it depends on the personality. I think you have to look at what you're like. I'm the kind of person that, for me to commit to something, I have to do it in an extreme first, and then I can find a balanced approach to it. So, for example, when it comes to eating, okay, at the onset of COVID, probably the first 3 to 4 months, I was eating anything and everything. I was eating like crap. I was eating carbs. I was eating desserts. I was eating all sorts of anything that came my way almost every meal. Like I would have desserts with almost every meal. I'd have, complex carbs with almost every meal. I would really I wasn't paying attention because I didn't care. And I started to, and it wasn't just even the physical impact that I saw on my body, but it started to feel lethargic and tired, and I didn't want to do anything. And I was like, well, I just want to sit on the couch and have another bake another cookie and that's what I want to do right now. Or I want another piece of pie. Like I started to get into that momentum, and I didn't like it. And I was like, I have to make a change, because otherwise if I do this and you continue down that path, then it's a really strong downward spiral. And like I said, I started to see the physical impact of me being like that, like on my body, because you could see that your body was changing. I could see my body was changing. But more so, like I said, I was lethargic. I felt foggy. I felt like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to focus on a lot of my projects. And at work I was in the day I was tired, and I'm like, oh, I want to take a nap. And I was getting lazy during work, and I was working at a lot slower pace, and all those things were starting to happen. And it was just because I was still working out, but I wasn't still 3 to 5 days a week, but I was not eating well, and that impact I felt. So for me, it was like, well, I know myself when I'm working out and I'm eating healthy. I know my energy levels, and I know that I'm a lot more active and I can do a lot more things. So I was like, I'm changing. Like my habits are changing, and I don't like that. So then I made it a commitment to myself that I'm gonna again, because I'm a very extreme. For me, I have to start extremes. Cut out all my complex carbs. Cut out all my desserts, and do a minimum amount of steps a day. And then and my workouts have to be. They can't be an average of 3 to 5. It has to be 5 every week. And I have no excuse. I'm not traveling for work. I'm home. Literally, I'm working from home. So I have no excuse but to find that hour to work out every single day. And then I also, at the beginning of COVID, I was also working out in between work. I would do 5-minute spurts where I would just do 30 to 45 seconds of 5 different workouts. So then, that would take up 5 minutes. But again, just to get me off my couch or get me off the desk and get my blood flowing. So throughout the day, if I'm just sitting there, I'm getting a bit of physical. So I stopped doing that also. And again, so I made a commitment to myself that I'm, for the next month, I'm going to cut out all sugars. I'm going to cut out all carbs, in which, unless you're really competing or training for something, it's not the most healthy way to live. But the only reason I really did that, again, like I said, I have to go to an extreme to find the balance. So for me, because if I say to myself, okay, well, I'm going to, only have dessert on Saturday, and I'm only going to have, carb with my breakfast, I won't do it. Because in the morning, I'll have, I'll have a piece of toast, but at lunch, I'll be like, whatever, I've already had the carb today, so I'm going to add some rice to my meal, or whatever the case, I will be a lot more relaxed with it. Whereas if in my mind, I've made that commitment to myself where I have set a goal that this is my, the next 4 weeks, I'm not going to have it. I'm more likely to complete that than I am to do the partial halfway. And it's the same with the workouts. That's why I said for myself, minimum 5 days a week. So during the weekdays, during a work week, I must work out every single day for at least an hour, no matter what. Some sort of physical activity, whether it's going for a run. And I kid you not, guys, I hate running. I hate.
Yes, I have asked him many times, can we do a marathon or 5K, and he would laugh and not even answer me. At some point, he would just not he would ignore the question, and I'm just I'm asking for company, bro. Can we go do this? And it's ignore and just pick up a different topic. It's that bad.
Yes, because I completely hate it. But I forced myself because I needed a change in my workout routine because it was getting, again, mundane. So I, for you, you got to find what works for you. And it is baby steps. For some people, it's not extremes. For me, it's extremes. I have to go hard and I have to go, in an extreme capacity for me to make it into a habit. For some people, it's like, well, okay, I got to get used to the idea. And so, like Rashi said, it could just be a simple 10-minute. Like there's YouTube videos upon YouTube videos that you can use that are, and they cater to different levels of complexity. So you could do, simple workouts that'll just get you off your couch and doing 10 minutes of activity. There's a workout called the 10-minute trainer. It's quite simple, and it's 10 moves, 1 minute each, and they show you how to do them at a intense and a basic level, so that at least you're moving. But I think the starting of it is really important. So what I recommend, or what I did, like I said, is at work, if we're all working from home, I would literally, like, depending on your schedule and your time of your day, whatever, but every 1 hour, every 2 hours, get up, pick 5 exercises and do them for 45 seconds each. So rough, and take a 15-second break in between. So you're just doing a quick 5-minute workout, and do that 2-3 times a day in the middle of the day. You'll find just even that alone will get your blood flowing and your energy levels up. And then pick a workout either before, it can be in the morning or the afternoon. And it doesn't have to be an intense, high intensity 1 hour training workout. If that's not for you, that's not for you. You got to pick what works for you. Some people, it's going for a walk. Like, for example, someone I know at work, they literally, both him and his wife will go for 10 kilometers of walking a day. They'll do once in the morning for 5 kilometers, and then they'll do it once in the evening after work for 5 kilometers. So they get their 10 kilometers in. It really depends on what works for you and your schedule. But the important thing is to do something. The problem that we all fall into, I think, is that we build, and it's just like, any sort of thing that like, even, if anxiety sometimes for a lot of people kicks in, it's like you think so much about the topic and the idea that you build it so big in your head that you walk yourself or convince yourself out of doing it. I think that's the problem. So start small, start basic, do something. Just do it. You know what? If you have stairs in your house, I'm going to walk up and down the stairs 5 times. That's a workout. Simple everyday tasks are workouts. Like, if you want to think, okay, I'm going to vacuum the house, you walking around the house and vacuuming is working out, right? So
Dance while you're doing that. It's actually really fun.
Dance while you're cooking. That's a workout. Choose anything that's going to physically get your body moving. It doesn't have to be you get a pair of weights and you're pumping iron. Like, that's not necessarily what a workout is for everybody. We're talking about just actual physical activity. Yeah, do what you enjoy.
Do what you enjoy. I think that's key here. And I think to your point, yes, change the workout. Like, when before COVID, I loved my kickboxing, loved it last year. I would go at least 3 times a week. For me, that was my it that I found. I felt confident, strong, sexy, amazing. I was like, I'm kicking ass all the time. But then I broke Bob once, but that's how much I loved it. And you want to enjoy that feeling. And then when COVID happened, I was like, holy shit. I started doing yoga and Pilates and different types of strength training at home. And the past month and a half, I've struggled again with getting back into the workout routine because it's that challenge is missing again, right? So what I started doing was my old trick, which I think we spoke about in one of our podcasts, where you wake up in the morning, I do my morning routine, whatever, but then I do the jiggly, as I like to call it. So that's one thing I personally recommend anybody who wants to get into working out, even if you want to do a 10-minute workout. If you do 10-minute workouts, that's just my recommendation. Do them in the morning. There's a lot of YouTube videos for anything that you like whatever you like, whether it's yoga, whether it's Pilates, whether it's dance, whether it's fitness. You have these 10-minute quick workouts, and sometimes if you type in morning workouts or afternoon workouts, you'll actually get stuff that's tailored to that time of the day. So do that, but I then highly recommend, before you start all of that, do the jiggly in the morning. And what I mean by that, for those who've not heard it, come on, this is fun.
When you told me,
I will make you do it.
I know, but when you told me, I was like, this is silly, but I also understand it. It's getting your body flowing. It's getting your blood flowing. It's so important. And it's a fun way to do it.
Okay, now with me, okay, let's just do it with me. Let's say if you're playing your favorite song, play your high tempo favorite song, okay? And you're all gonna put your hands up, and let's say you're in your bed. You've not even gotten out of your bed this morning, but you wanted the blood flowing. Father, come on with me. Put your hands up.
I can't believe this is happening.
Come on, beast, put your hands up. And then just jiggle. Just like move like this. Come on. You're a dancer. You can do this better than me. Come on. And just jiggle. Just go like all silly about it. And then you just move the way you wanna. Just don't ever let my future husband see this video, but just like, move.
Yo, it's your idea. We're going to definitely show him.
Listen, man, he's like marrying me for all of this. But
Good luck.
but that's the point, right? That's your blood flowing, and then you giggle like how we do. So yes.
The importance, like, I mean, this was, and to Rashi's point, like that, it's very, very important to get your blood flowing. And we're talking about tying this into your mental health. I mean, anybody that's going through any sort of problem, whether it's an issue with your parents, an issue with your spouse, an issue with family, an issue at work, whatever the case is, whatever you're going through, getting that workout in, the feeling you feel after that's done and how good you feel about that workout once it's complete. I know sometimes even through the workout, I'm like, I don't want to do this right now, but I push myself through it. The endorphins that releases to your body, just those problems. Yes, there's still problems, and yes, there's still things you have to manage, but mentally you feel a weight lifted off your mind and your brain, and an ability to be like, you know what, I can probably manage through this, and I can do, like, the effect on your mental health by working out is so huge. Like it's literally like I could come off a really rough day or a challenging day at work where I feel like nothing is going right, and I'm just not getting the results I want, and I'm just not getting, I'm not able to communicate what I want out to my clients or to business partners, or things are just going wrong. And I'll finish my workout. The first thing I do after my day is done, I'm gonna work out, because before I start it's almost like a break to me. It's before my evening, like where the second part of my day starts, where like I'm doing the kitchen stuff and I'm doing the family responsibility stuff, and then like my projects or whatever. It's like almost like a second full day that comes in. So I'm like,
president stuff, basically.
So before that starts, I'm like, I need a reset. Like I can't go from this mindset into that mindset, because I can't carry that. I don't want to carry that energy. One, and I don't have the mental capacity to deal with these things right now. Like at that point, it's either like I'm going to work out or I'm going to bed. Like one of the two is going to happen. And I don't have the option to go to bed. So for me, it's those responsibilities. For other people, it's like, they come home from work with whatever problems, but they got to deal with, whether it's kids or parents or grandparents or whatever the case, and they got things to manage through. So it's the same idea. Like whatever your things are, and you don't want to transfer the energy, and you need a reset to be able to go and take on, the next part of your life and manage through it mentally. You need that break for yourself. So the physical activity helps you to do that. It helps you to clear your mind, put everything away for that, whatever time it is, whether it's your 10, 12, 20 minutes or your half an hour, your hour, whatever you can afford, but it's giving you that opportunity to reset so you can go in and take on the rest of your day. And you're not coming at it with that same energy. That also helps me from the standpoint of, the next day, because now the next day when I go back into work, I'm not going in with that energy that I left the day with, because I've squashed that energy by working out and having my physical activity and resetting myself. So yes, the next day the challenges are still there and I got to face them, but I can face them with a fresh outlook, not the energy that I had when I left it with. Right. So I think what I wanted to point across with the physical activity is that no matter what form it takes for you, whether it's, a walk or activities around your house, or doing something with your kids, or spending time with like your parents and going for a walk with them, or, whether you're swimming or you're doing actual weights, or you're doing high intensity CrossFit type training, or whatever you're doing, just the important factor is to do it. And not everybody has to be doing it because they want, like I said, the perfectly chiseled body. That's not the only purpose to work out or to have physical activity. To me, the main purpose to have physical activity is to sync your mindset and your mental capacity with the ability for your body to manage it, because they're both very important to manage.
And what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We're going to do the jiggly again, because I'm sure if you guys did it with us, you already felt light and you giggled, so that's amazing for you. And we're going to be right back.
Sounds great. You're not jiggling. Why are you not jiggling? You're supposed to come back all like...
I did jiggle. I even jiggled in my car today driving. It was such a gloomy weather. At some point, I was like, I need a higher love.
Okay, so Rashi sends me the song. She's like, this song is, I'm blasting it. It's so good. Now, what I didn't know is that she was singing it so off tune the way she just sang it, because it was, whatever she just did was not the song. She was singing Higher Love.
I completely butchered it.
She was singing "Higher Love," the Whitney Houston remake by Kygo, and it was just
Take
not.
Me, right? It's called Take Me.
It was just not that. Like that's not how the song goes.
Okay, but listen, but that's the point of the Jiggly. It doesn't matter how the song goes. It doesn't matter how you look. All
Are you
that
trying to, are
matters.
you trying to justify your terrible singing to us?
Listen, I never said I was a good singer. Okay, that's been a disclaimer in our friendship since day one. I'm like, don't make me sing. The windows will break.
We have so many things on you on this show that if we go back and listen to all 65 odd episodes and listen to everything that you've done in the show and compile them all, just like the Rashi moments, and share them at like on a slideshow or whatever when you get married, I'm pretty sure that he's gonna run.
Oh hell no! He's gonna be like, I got the best, most fearless, badass chick ever.
And you know
and
why
that's a conversation, guys, for another podcast.
And you know why she has that confidence is because she is physically active every single day.
Yes, I actually do this. I do the Jiggly. So as much as you guys are making fun of me, one of my best things, okay, so on Thursdays, I have some errands that are very specific, and that involves me driving, sometimes for very long periods of time, and that does take a strain on my back and my legs, so that I do like to stretch and all those stuff. So what I started doing is I would blast certain songs, and in this case was Higher Love.
Yeah.
And I've had my Backstreet Boys moments too. And what I would do is like, I'm driving, I would put the windows down, unless it's raining, put the windows down, and then if there's no cops around me, one hand, and people around me actually staring at me, and I'm like, I don't care. Is it so liberating? I mean, listen, in real life, I'm not going to see this person again. So I really don't care how much fun they're making of me. All I know is I'm feeling so freaking amazing. And guys, literally, if you do this for 3 minutes, just one song, pick one song, just do that for the entire duration of the song, I guarantee you're going to feel so much better. Like, I challenge you how good you're going to feel. I'll bet you $100 how good you're going to feel about this.
Those people on the street don't see you do it, but everyone who watches our show will see it over and over and over again because now it's on camera.
This is the sacrifice I'm doing for your physical health and mental wellness, guys.
And what's
Rashi
really,
styles.
yeah, for sure. But also just a legal disclaimer: if you're doing this, please keep your eyes on the road and drive safely.
Yes. Do not follow me completely on that.
Yeah. Unless you're parked, don't do it. Don't do it to the full extent that we're doing it on this video. So I think let's we touched a little bit on nutrition. Let's touch on that a little bit. We're not nutritionists by any means, but more I can speak to from personal experience the difference that it makes, and how I've seen the impact both mentally and physically on my body. So I can speak to that standpoint. But Rashi, I think you've seen. I mean, both of us openly have mentioned that we've got gut problems, and just from that standpoint, I think you can speak to it a little bit too, and I'll expand on it. But speak to the impact and the importance of monitoring sort of how you eat and what you eat, and even when you eat. Sometimes
I eat.
I know, but I'm saying, like, talk about like the difference it makes in terms of like what you eat and how you eat, like just from a simple problem, and how that impacts you from a mental standpoint, because nutrition is a big part of physical wellness, right?
Yeah. So in my case, I discovered, I think, slightly over a year before you and I got to know each other. So I think around that same time.
Roughly around the same time, yeah.
Yeah, that I was suffering from, like, I would always look heavy. Like, I was very bloated. I was very, like, uncomfortable with my thing. And I'm like, I'm working out like crazy. It came to a point that, guys, I was working out 5 days a week for 2 hours because I thought I was just getting fat. You know what I mean? So I was, like, working out 2 hours, and I was doing cardio with strength training. Then I was watching what I was eating, in the sense, like, I love, carbs. So I would eat like one piece of like whole grain toast, like 1 in 2 days type of thing. And like, I was going through whatever I could that time, trying to figure out, like, why do I have this like belly essentially? And then I'm like, I was literally like killing myself. I mean, yay, I got stronger, which was really cool. But at the same time, I didn't like how I was looking because growing up, I was used to seeing myself a certain way, and then you keep hearing this whole thing like like as we get older, our like hormones kick in, our bodies change, and I'm like, yeah, but then there are women who are my age and they look freaking fabulous, and they have these flat bellies. Like, what the hell's going on? Turns out it really was a gut issue, and I had to do that the whole I took matters into my hands. I was like, my health is super important. Went, got all the tests done that I needed to. Turned out I had a gut issue. So I started incorporating probiotics into my diet. I controlled how much gluten into a point that I would take out gluten. I would take out certain foods and then reintroduce them back to see what was helping me, what was not. And that was going on well for a while. Here's what happens though in this. What happens is that when your body becomes very accustomed to eating and not eating certain things, which is not always ideal, and two, every time I would eat a bit of junk food, I mean, I'm a chips lover, so every time I would eat like a little bit of chips, I would go into mental freak out mode that, oh my God, I'm screwing my gut over. You know what I mean? So it took me a very long time to come to a balanced diet where, yes, I personally now don't like to eat gluten. Part of it is because of my stomach issues, and another part of it is because of my energy clearance that I just like. I like how I feel. But I've recognized, whether I want to or not, gluten does not help my issues right now. I may have all the probiotics in the world. I may, be as dairy free as I can be. But I've also learned to not like I've learned to be healthy, but I've also learned to let my body enjoy certain things to keep that balance in my system, which is very key. And I work out, and when I enjoy what I'm working out, it doesn't feel like a workout. It just feels like fun.
Exactly, and that's the most important. You got to have fun with what you're doing. Find something you like doing and have fun with it. So I went through a similar issue in that. So when I started my workout journey or my physical activity journey a number of years back, I, like anybody else, or like I was saying, I like to do things in extremes. So I did the complete cut. I did, even at that point, no carbs, no sugar, but it wasn't just a 4-week cleanse. It was, this is my new lifestyle. And I ate like that for 6 months, 8 months, a year. Like, I don't know how long. It was a long time. And then as I was trying to, first I lost a lot of weight because, I was eating in a calorie deficit. And then I was also eating, really like it was, it was almost like calorie counting, but it was like specific types of calories, like, only like fruits and veggies, only meat or only proteins, not just meat proteins, but, mainly chicken, a lot of, Greek yogurt, tuna. Like, I was eating very, very just specific kinds of foods. And I've found that my stomach problems were getting worse and worse. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not eating bad food. Why is my stomach reacting this way? I don't understand. It didn't make any sense to me. So I went through a whole bunch of different like doctor's visits, did all the tests, like blood work, everything, all the tests. And, they basically told me that there's no one specific thing that we can pinpoint. Like, your stomach inside is fine. Like, there's no real issue inside it. It's just obviously something's not sitting right. So what he's like, a lot of it's going to be trial and error. Actually, the one thing I probably do have to do is still go see a nutritionist, because there's still, a lot of my stomach and gut issues are not as strong as what they were, because I've done it a bit through trial and error, but there's still some things. So, I haven't totally figured out every component of it, which is probably... I'm sorry?
Go see Shay. She'll help you out.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I do have to do the nutritionist thing properly. But, so I found some of my triggers through trial and error and found the difference that it makes when I cut them out. Also, what I found is because my diet was so protein heavy, and I was eating at that point, if you know any little bit of thing about like sort of, weightlifting and building body mass, that there's a ratio of protein, like grams of protein, that you're supposed to have compared to your body if you want to maintain certain muscle mass, if you want to increase your muscle mass. So, I was at a point where I was eating double my muscle mass, double my body mass in grams of protein. So whatever my weight is, you basically double it in grams of protein. And that's what I was eating, because I wanted to build some muscle. So I mean, like I'm having lots of chicken, I'm having lots of Greek yogurt, I'm having lots of tuna, lots of, like with Indian food, there's lots of different things that have protein. So like everything that I had was very, very heavy in protein and veggies, and I cut out all carbs, which is also not smart to do if you're trying to build that mass. It's not, just don't do it. Um, so I found that as I balanced out my diet a little bit more, and I started to introduce, where a lot of people don't have the gluten issue, but I started to introduce complex carbs back into my diet, my stomach issue started to go back down. Like it wasn't as difficult for me to digest, and my stomach wasn't as irritated. So I found that as I balanced out my diet more and added more carbs to my diet, it actually helped me versus, for some people, gluten's the issue. For me, it was the exact opposite. Too much protein was an issue. So I found that to be an issue. Coffee was a big one for me because coffee was a big trigger. And, I've been drinking coffee my whole life, except for now it's been, actually, we passed September. Yeah, it's been more over a year that I haven't drank coffee. So
Congratulations.
no, please don't congratulate me because I love coffee. So it's very difficult. But I can still have certain types of espresso every so often, but even some of that irritates me. But it's the content of the coffee bean that basically riles my stomach. So, my stomach would be upset all day if I had my coffee in the morning. And I was like, I love my coffee, but I was just like, I'm so sick. So I'm like, I did it for a month. I felt a lot better, and I just continued on. So I've cut out coffee since then. So you got to find your balance. The other side of, and this is that's very specific to me from a health standpoint, that what triggers were from my stomach, but just from an overall nutritional standpoint, everybody's body is different. And if something that I use as a measure now, like I still, I'll step back into a second, like Rashi, like I still, there's a point where I would do these things and my stomach would, like anybody who's doing those kind of like that level of high level of non-carb, non-sugar diets, like my stomach went flat, which was great, right? But obviously it was hurting all the time. Now I have the same issue that I can, I did it for 4 weeks just recently. Like I monitor, like I don't eat proteins in those into that capacity. Like I'll sub it with other things and more veggies and that sort of thing. So I get the fiber and I balance it out. But my stomach still has the same issue. Like getting that total flatness there's always going to be a gut issue unless I address that separately. So I think everybody, the reason I'm trying to say that is that I think you have to see what works for your body and what doesn't work for your body. Some people, they can do the non-carb, non-sugar diets and keep it consistent, do like the full, keto style, or like just watch your macros and all that kind of stuff, and they can be completely fine. But other people can't necessarily do that. So you have to really know your body, and we're not professionals, so definitely speak to a professional if you want to be really serious about it and understand what things will affect your body and why, from an allergic standpoint or just a trigger standpoint or a gut standpoint or even just a physical mental health. But finding that balance for your physical health is super, super important. Like I said, when I was, even just through COVID, as I got a little bit relaxed with my eating, and I was eating all sorts of sugars and eating all sorts of complex carbs, and I wasn't balanced. Like every meal there was like a garlic bread or a big piece of cake or like massive cookies at the end. Like I'd bake, like I'd buy those Pillsbury like dough cookies, and I'd literally bake them every day, like 3 of them, and like that's I would have dessert. Yeah, but I was really consuming a lot of sugar. You really feel the highs and lows of that, and you really I really felt the fatigue and the laziness and being lethargic and all those sort of things. So the gut health is obviously a big component, but the impact on you on the physical and mental side from eating like that is huge as well. So having, when they talk about having the major food groups and having an appropriate balanced diet, like that's not just a joke. Like it's not just said to make you support certain types of restaurants or types of food chains or whatever. It's really for your own health, in order to be able to be active, in order to feel that active lifestyle on the other side, and also as we've tied in earlier, to manage the mental health for yourself too. Like the nutrition as a proponent or component of the physical health is super, super important.
The one thing I will add to this though, and on a serious note, like mentioned, so let's say all you guys are hearing this and you're like, this is great, but I don't know where to start. Like sometimes we are at that point where we're like, okay, Rashi, we're doing this 10-minute workout. We are doing the movements in the morning. I'm working out, but I still don't know how to control my eating or what's good for me, what's not. And my nutrition appointment's like 2 months from now type of thing. I invite you to do a 21-day cleanse. And here's why. This is not about your weight loss. This is not about
And I'm gonna quickly interject. What we're talking about today is not just about weight loss. We're talking about a lifestyle. This is not about
yes,
losing weight. This is not about being, like having like a bodybuilder's body. We're not talking about that. We're talking about physical activity and nutrition from a lifestyle perspective.
yeah, and this is not a quick fix either. And again, if you've been hearing our podcast, especially throughout this year, I've been doing a lot of 21-day cleanses this entire year for various reasons. And the one thing, one of my most extreme ones was for 21 days, I did no caffeine, no sugar, no gluten. I don't eat meat anyway, so I was fine with that. No sugar, no carbs, no gluten, no junk foods, like no chips, no whatever. There was something else that I'd added into it. I think I said no sugar, but anyways, I did 5 main things that I literally took out of my body. First 2-3 days was hard. Then this was hard despite doing cleanses all throughout. So I started this year with doing 3 months of no alcohol and no sugar and no something else. Then I went 21 days doing no coffee, and I love I've grown up on coffee, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I took that out of my system, right? So I had done a bunch of different cleanses, and then I did this 21-day intense where I took out everything, all at the same time. Crazy shock to my system, I'm not gonna lie, but that shock was only for 2 days. Within the 3rd day, my body had completely adjusted to removing all of these items. Now, again, I'm not saying this to go lose weight or it's a fad or it's a quick detox. What happens is that it takes 21 days to have a habit, right?
Yeah.
So when you're doing a cleanse like that, and let's say you start working out, the way you feel, the clarity, and just how amazing you feel, that energy that's rushing through your body, even you feel very focused, very sharp with what you're doing. What happens is that after 21 days, when you, let's say, reintroduce coffee, okay, in my case, I was like, okay, I can live without all this stuff. I still need coffee. But guess what, guys? Instead of having 6 cups a day, for me now, 2 cups, max 3. But my 3rd cup has to be some sort of mocha or latte or something, so it's not very caffeine heavy. That's all I need, and I have all this crazy energy naturally. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's still a lot of caffeine.
Okay, for someone who had 6 cups a day, 2 cups is a huge improvement.
Yeah. It's a big difference. I've also grown a massive appreciation for tea, because that's what I have to drink now.
I just keep doing more and more water in my system.
I do that. So yeah, we should mention it, water, literally. So I drink 3, for those workout jugs, so 750 milliliters. I drink 3 of those a day, and I start off with an 8-ounce glass of water in the morning, and I drink 3 of those a day throughout the day. So again, water intake is super, super important throughout the day. It's literally I'm just sipping on it all day long, every day. So
and have fun with your water. Put lemon, put cucumber,
you can infuse so many different.
Flavor it. But yeah, sorry. So back to my point was when you start introducing certain things, your body automatically rejects it. I still cannot have a lot of sugar stuff, but I can't have a lot of desserts. It's become very sweet for me. So I've put my body.
That makes one of us. I can still have tons of dessert.
Yeah. Yes, you can. But it's because I've put my body through 30 days of no sugar, 21 days of no sugar. You know what I mean? So, and for me, this is a lifestyle. Yes, there are moments I'll see cake and I'm like, oh my God, I want to bite. But that's what happens. It's literally a tiny bite because I can't have more. I physically feel sick.
Yeah.
So, that is one way to start moving into a more nutritious and healthy lifestyle where it just becomes part of your life. But the first few days are a little bit challenging, and that's part of the whole getting out of your comfort zone, right? So that's my 2 cents on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a couple of closing thoughts. I think 2 things. One is I think you gotta in the beginning of the conversation you asked me what are tips and tricks and advice to give people to get started. I think you gotta really dig deep and find your motivation. I think everybody has a trigger and a motivation and a reason to want to do this. I think you got to find it. And that takes a bit of searching. That may even take trial and error with some different types of activity to see if it suits your motivation. But finding that motivation is really important. For some people, it's I want to spend more time with my spouse. Cool, go for walks together. I want to spend more time with my kids. Okay, go to the park with them and play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta find your motivation to get your physical activity. And I think that's super, super important. And what I also want to say is that, Rashi and I, we're coming at this topic not from the standpoint of being professionals. We're not professionals in this space. We're not doctors. We're not nutritionists. We're not, we're not trainers. None of that sort of stuff. So, do definitely consult professionals in the space for your own specific requirements and needs. It's very important to do so. What we're coming at it from is, we wanted to shore off the topic of mental health and just show how important physical health plays a role in that, and just come at it from a lifestyle standpoint. Like I said, we're not here to talk to you about weight loss or weight gain. We're not here to talk to you about, finding specific routines of workouts. That's not what we're able to do, and nor are we qualified to do it. What we're here to share with you is our personal experiences that have worked for us, but showing that it's something that you can make a part of your lifestyle if you really focus on making it a part of your lifestyle. So, it's very important to note that it's a doable thing for everybody if you want to put it and make it a focus. If you don't want to put it and make it a focus, there's a million excuses not to make these things happen for yourself. But definitely, everybody's body, everybody's workout style, everybody's training is going to be a little bit different, because you got to find your motivation and find what works for you. So just want to leave that there, that we're not we're not coming at this from the standpoint of professionals. So, please consult with someone if you have specific questions. It's just we wanted to share with you the value in having it as a part of your lifestyle.
Okay. Thank you for giving us that disclaimer.
It's super important,
and
man.
those tips and motivation.
I don't want someone come like, you told me to do that. I didn't tell you to do that, man. I just told you to find something that suits you. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, but in my case, the one thing I am telling to do, because that I know I'm very safe in saying this, is do the Jiggly, do the 10-minute workouts in the morning, guys, and do the 3-minute, that is one song. Do the one song Jiggly as soon as you wake up, or when you're having those crappy days. Please don't do it when you're driving, because I'm an exception to the rule. You guys may not be. I do not want any messages coming after.
Yes, please.
But definitely do the Jiggly. Do the Jiggly, and if you guys do it, leave a comment and just tell me how you feel. Like, I'm smiling just thinking about it. I'm so excited for you.
Rashi's gonna do the Jiggly right to bed.
I actually will do it.
Yeah, great. All right, guys, so that's it for us this week. We hope you enjoyed the topic. We'll definitely be back next week. If there's any topics or guests that you think that we should bring on to the show, please let us know. And again, just a reminder that the show's lifestyle, business, and fashion focused. So you're going to get those 3 areas of topics from us. As obviously this one's last couple have been very lifestyle focused. So we're talking to guests and bringing out some more guests too that'll be focused on the other areas and other topics that we have in mind for us to just discuss, focused on all areas as well. So thank you for joining us.
And until next time, this is...
Your host,
you're
Sethee.
not going to say it.
I said
and
it.
I'm stylist Rashi.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
There am I.
Hey guys, thank you for watching that podcast or that video. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more of us and see some of our behind the scenes stuff, subscribe below.
Yes, hit that little red, button thingy that's over there, and hit subscribe, and keep following us for a lot more cool, fun stuff.
Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you soon.